A rainy weekend here, but I have some sunshine in my life because today I get to draft in the world of drafters. Of course, full point PPR, no pods, no playoff pods. We're competing for 17 weeks of total points with 500K to first place in this one. And of course, I'm already in a draft room here. Got basically a snap fill on drafters, which is a good sign for the drafters million. Again, full point PPR here. No pods, no playoff pods. So it's a big change here from the world of underdog that we're normally in. But of course, we have fun here doing these drafters drafts on the weekends. And today, another double header coming. And at the end of the video, I will give away 2 more entries into the drafters million. So stay tuned. But today we were picking the 9-hole here. So spot, some flexibility, some names I recognize here. I think A. Furiyama is a guy who DMs me sometimes. Not sure if we have any other regulars in this one. But we're trying to get it going here on time today. So let's get it going. See y'all in draft 2, hopefully. Yes, we do a second draft coming up here, so stay tuned. Yeah, this one basically had 1 spot left when I came in, so we are a snap fill today. The good news, rainy day here. I've been playing with a child for 2 hours. It doesn't stop me from cracking open a beer at 10:59 on the East Coast, so juicy monkey time once again. I only like my monkeys juicy. I think we all know that. I want them juicy, succulent, moist. That's how I want my monkeys. So our guy Dustin here, Saturday morning Spags. Yes, indeed. We are here on the draft grind. I think Liam had a stream going earlier for BBM. So, hey, drafters, never a bad time for drafters. And AJ Brown, never a bad time for him either. I feel like I have more AJ Brown on drafters at this point than I do on underdog, but never an issue with AJ Brown in full point PPR. The big bet on AJ Brown really is that last year, this is something that kind of got brushed under the rug of how bad the team was on the home stretch. That Chargers team last year was so efficient in terms of the EPA metrics, especially for Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, when that team was actually like humming full cylinder that first part of the year. So really, to me, the bet on 2, I would say at least younger and more talented, but likely more talented in terms of A.J. Brown and similarly talented in terms of Devontae Smith. This Philadelphia offense really should be the best version of what a Kellen Moore offense should be, assuming that Nick Sirianni stays out of the way, doesn't mess it up like maybe he did last year a little bit based on some of the reports coming out. But to me, A.J. Brown is a player that I don't want to get 16% of. Like, he's not the game-breaking talent to me of a Jefferson. He's not on, I think, as fun of a team as Amon-Ra St. Brown. But if I had 15% A.J. Brown, I wouldn't be mad at it. Just hard to get there. We are on the clock again, though. Feels like a 0 RB spot unless we wanted to go up and get Saquon Barkley, make the full Philadelphia bet. But at this point, a little bit of an ADP discount on Drake London. We'll take it here. And by a little bit, I mean literally a 1-spot ADP discount on him, but we got it. You make that dry monkey juice. And Juicy Monkey was my nickname at the academy. That's delightful to hear. How would one get the nickname Juicy Monkey at the academy? Really think about that. When we talk about the internal logic of drafts, let's talk about the internal logic of that nickname. How would one in a school full of boys get the nickname Juicy Monkey? That's an awful one to think about. I feel like throwing feces would be one way. Just being juicy in general, I suppose. I haven't even taken a sip of this yet, so I'm going to do that. It is a gross day out here in Philly. It is gray as shit. Rainy from the moment I woke up. Sweaty ass? Okay, that's a different way to go about it. How would they know your ass was sweaty, though? I guess I could see you in practice or something and go, oh, look at that juicy monkey going. But, you know, that's a tough one. I have a dumpy, but it'd be swampy in Houston. That's okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Swamp ass will get the best out of all of us. They do say if you wipe your butt after a shower, it does help a swamp ass. That is one of the rumors and innuendos out there for all the juicy monkeys watching the stream. 3 minutes in, this is where we've gone. Drafters, I have to be the proudest sponsorship that Drafters must have. They have all these other, they have ETR doing some stuff. They have Spike doing some stuff. And here it's like, last week I was showing off my leg. Last week got out of hand a little bit. Last week got off the rails. And you know, I assume I convert similarly for these guys. I also did want to give a shout out, by the way. This is something I'm not going to do every week, I don't think, unless people start depositing more. But I did want to give a shout out to some of the people that signed up lately because we have had a lot of people making new drafters accounts and want to give the shout out because it does support the show here in addition to supporting you with a $100 deposit match for it. But lately we had David Aaronsdorf depositing, Pro Squirter, Chewy Braden, Rory Garcia, Nicholas with a K, Sampson, Troy Wass, King Woods, S. Sumner, these ones were last week. Those are all the ones from the last week. So shout out to all you guys who are depositing. And again, really the biggest thing I could say for you guys, if you are trying to decide, hey, should I enter the mini Schnauzer 17 or should I enter the Drafters Million? The overlay you're going to get here, the softer rooms you're going to get here. The biggest cosign I can give you guys is that I've given enough on stream, but it is part of the sales pitch at this point. Last year I put in 9 entries, finished top 110. I don't think you have that kind of upside in underdog, to be totally candid. It's too sharp of a place. On draft, you can get away with it, especially with the overlay. We have AJ Brown, Drake London, Pacheco coming up pretty much everywhere across the industry. And I've been getting my shares of them. I've liked them this entire time, but haven't necessarily gone out of my way to get them. I'm doing it now. Pacheco, come on down as our hero RB. So I've been drafting a lot of zero RB teams lately, but we are getting Pacheco here as our hero. Pacheco go into the 20s in a lot of underdog rooms right now. And again, I've talked about, with the redraft stuff. In redraft leagues, Pacheco can go in the teens sometimes. So I think you are seeing a little bit of the August coming here. People making that jump here. Pacheco, no McKinnon, that being the big part that people make the leap to. I still fundamentally believe in that a lot. But I do think with the underdog ADPs, with best ball ADPs, with drafters ADPs, in general, you are seeing, a price tag for Pacheco. Hard for Pacheco to hit, and multitudes of the Chief receivers to hit, and Kelsey in this range. I think it's hard for all of them to hit unless this Chiefs offense is completely different than last year. I know that's people's bets, but I really have to point that out a lot, that we are now at a point, Denny Carter made the same point I've been making this entire year. Chiefs last year really dropped the A-dot, focused more on efficiency, keeping Mahomes clean. I don't know why that would change when he's another year older. I think they have better weapons for sure, but I don't think this offense is, again, another one like the Jets. I don't think they're putting up 300 yards a game. Zay Flowers here would look okay. Jalen Hurts, I never really have an issue with. I do like the elite QB a little bit more. Let's try to build a more balanced team today on drafters. I do think you are rewarded more by building a balanced team because of the total points format. Let's see what we do. So Hurts, Pacheco, AJ Brown, Drake London, starving the beast a little bit at receiver, but no crazy values there. Zay Flowers, a little bit of a value. I honestly, if Zay hits this year, I'm perfectly going to be okay with it because I have so much of him as just a guy I'm taking in those 10 to 12 spots. You might have seen on stream yesterday. I did my exposure review with the Best Ball Explorer tool. You can see your draft spots. My draft spots have been heavily 10, 11, 12. So I've got enough Zay to last a lifetime this year. Wish I got more Pacheco a month ago. I do too, honestly. He was going in that Josh Jacobs range a little bit earlier than that, and I just wasn't quite there. I kind of got blind to the ATN spot along with Pacheco, even though both guys have merits. More merits to me for Pacheco than ATN. But yeah, I've said it before. I think I said it yesterday or the day before on stream. I really think for my next year, one of my priorities really I would like it to be being more aware of just guys that are a little bit low for what they're going to be come July and August. Really more because of reading the market than anything about my player takes. Because I think for me, I make my player takes, you guys know, make them in January for the most part about the guys coming in. Then as info comes in, I start to adjust, adapt a little bit more. But I think because of that process a little bit, I'm so locked in on, the market doesn't realize this guy is good or this situation is not what the market thinks. And I instead just ignore the fact that Pacheco in the late 50s, people are going to eventually grab onto that and going to want to move him up a little bit higher once we get into July and August and casual drafter season. So it's a weakness of mine, to be honest. It's one of those things where I know guys are going to move up and I don't really change how I draft because of it. And I think that's one of the things I need to clean up for myself. But anyway, neither here nor there. Miserable here at the Heat. Well, there you go. Happy weekend, our guy Felix, former DK Millie winner. Proud dad as well. Glad to see him in here. PPR format also allows you to catch up more efficiently as you don't have to TD hunt quite as much. That is true. If you are going to punt receiver, I do think having a PPR format makes it a little bit easier, though. On DraftKings, I have to say, it is really hard. Whenever I've done drafts on there this year, which is not a ton, hard to not go 0 RB on DraftKings just because of the fact that RBs are still pushed down a little bit more than they should be, and you can really just load up on receivers in full point PPR, 100+ yard bonus on that. So, different little nuances to each site for sure. But I do agree it's a little bit easier to catch up at receiver in full point PPR. This guy going to, well, maybe not extreme 0 RB, but definitely going to real 0 RB team here. Only one team here going to real 0 RB so far. So hopefully receiver prices don't get jacked up too much. Kyle Pitts here for the Atlanta double. Again, if we're building a balanced build, I think this is a balanced build. Chris Godwin, better in PPR for sure. Really no issue with Chris Godwin. But I don't think Kyle Pitts is coming back to me at the next pick, at pick 64. So we're going to go Kyle Pitts for the Atlanta double here. Got our Philadelphia single. Feeling good about the team so far. Well balanced. Well balanced. Time for some cardio drafts on the Devil's Table. There you go. Quality work coming in. I'll be here sitting comfortably on a couch, drinking a juicy monkey beer. That's how I like to draft. Though I have historically drafted a good amount while lifting weights. I think that's a good one too. You put it on your phone holder. It's like $10 little steel iPhone holders you can have that I have 2 of them in the house. They come in handy for holding your iPhone. Put that there, set your draft going, do your workout. If you hear the phone vibrate or make a noise, come do your pick. I think that's my way. Cardio, I've never been the biggest fan of doing that with underdog. Even though I know that's the whole thing. Let's see, Babylon. What are they going to do? Got to think Godwin's going to go for one of these guys. But I would be down to scoop Godwin if he didn't. Godwin full point PPR. Much more appealing play to me. Do any draft cardio? Got to get some drafters in. Got to get some drafters in. Did see Justin Herzig talking about autoing a bunch of entries because he thought the EV was so strong with the potential for overlay. All right, so we almost took Godwin at that last spot. He came all the way back. Xavier Worthy to me feels more like an underdog play. Just a touchdown hound. Probably not going to get a ton of PPR. I'm going to go Godwin. 3 receivers through 6 rounds. Not the coziest. I think it works, though. So let's read this team. We got Jalen Hurts, Isaiah Pacheco, A.J. Brown, Drake London, Chris Godwin, Kyle Pitts. I'm definitely more comfortable with Chris Godwin as wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. But for this build, we can live with it. Interesting room so far. Not a lot of crazy values, but I feel like the room has been relatively hospitable for building this kind of team. I think Felix would always be feeling Najee on any team. Unless it's a team that's going against him in a pod, then he probably would not be as happy about that team having Najee. If I had to guess. Also, 2 guys who are doing their first draft, I'm noticing. This guy, John Macri, Rocky328. So you're seeing some drafters, non-veterans here coming in, which frankly might make for softer rooms as well. Not to keep giving you the drafters plug, but really, like, I know it sounds like a sales pitch at this point, but I did the math this morning. Tournament's 39% filled. You know, we have like 3 weeks left. I think it's going to be very tough for this one to top 75%. Yeah, this guy's doing it. If you're going to take McCaffrey, you go hard at receiver after that. He didn't have to go 6 in a row necessarily, but a fun team here. Could use a little more median projection, I think, with Neighbors, Devontae, Kirk, McLaurin, JSN, and Brian Thomas. But with that much volume, interesting way to do it. If you're going to burn that early RB capital, even on drafters, you have to make it up at receiver somehow. Nothing else to take. Burrow at 77. Just not a pick I would ever make. Burrow in every site falls to the 90s so often, late 90s so often. Taking him earlier doesn't make sense. We saw somebody yesterday take him in a BBM at 55. Awful way to do that. Also, DeAndre Swift, substantially higher on drafters than on underdog. About a 20-pick difference. All right. Another receiver here would work. We do have the KC bet. Trying to make it up here. And Hollywood Brown at a little bit of a discount, even on his dropped ADP post-injury, I think feels pretty good. So Hollywood Brown, wide receiver 4, a little bit of a concentrated KC bet, a Philadelphia bet, an Atlanta bet. We're making bets on teams we expect to be amongst the top in their conferences. I'm happy with this team. How does drafters stay in business if they have such big overlay? I mean, they didn't last year. There was, I think, a little bit of overlay going, but I think it did fill. I might be able to check that to confirm. But I'm pretty sure they filled last year. I mean, just doing the math a little bit. So let's say it's 75% filled. Let me pull up my phone real fast. All right. So if it goes to 75% filled at this many, 187,000 entries. So they would be getting in times 15. They'd be getting in $2.1 million. So basically here to do the overlay math, they basically, if this were 75% filled, they would be putting in $400K of their own money. The way they would make that up would be from revenue coming from their other things, the other tournaments they've done. The pick'ems they have on drafters as well are a pretty popular thing for them. So it'd have to be coming from other things. The hope would, I think, be for most companies that if you have overlay in your big tournament, that tournament is like a loss leader where you then move people around to other stuff. But for drafters, I don't know. I think they might just eat a lot of lost money this year, which would be tough for them. All right, so we have 4 receivers here. Adding the 5th one would be logical. Ramondre at a decent discount would also be logical. I don't know that I want to keep pushing receiver because I do like JMO a good amount. And again, another player on a good team. I'm going to go JMO here. I like the Ramondre value. Ramondre, for me in drafts this week, I've been getting him at 90 everywhere. So I'm going to wait on Ramondre here. Somebody else can scoop that value. We're going to go with the 5th receiver through 8 rounds. So goal is always to get 5 receivers through 100 picks. Generally, we accomplished that here, despite all the deviations. We got Jalen Hurts, Isaiah Pacheco, A.J. Brown, Drake London, Chris Godwin, Hollywood Brown, Jameson Williams, and Kyle Pitts. So the team is well correlated. I would say a little bit less star at receiver, a little bit less star power at receiver than I would like to normally get. Want guys who have that 50-point ceiling, 40-point ceiling, as many of them as I could get in the first 3 rounds usually. But we made some deviations here. I can live with it. I can live with it. Fire start. Thank you. Well balanced. Definitely more balanced than I usually do. I got Bindles here. GM. Shout out Bindles. Saw that he was doing a stream with Tyler, I think with the best ball guy. Saw that in my feed. Glad to see those 2 handsome men together always. Makes sense on Swift, given his reputation as a pass catcher. Look, I like Swift. I still like Swift a good amount. But yeah, I guess that would be the difference, maybe the PPR. 12 spot difference? I don't know. I think Swift's undervalued on BBM, on underdog, to be honest. But I've felt that way for a while. This guy gets Jaden Daniels too. Fun team, Najee. Najee with the McCaffrey hero. The one hole's building a fun team. Like it's not a great team. A lot of bets that have to kind of hit in a way that maybe a little bit tough at their ADPs, but I like what the one hole's doing. 122 drafts showing for Jay Watt here in the one hole. Did I like your late term abortion at school joke from that stream? No, I did not. I did not see that one. I must have missed that part. I think I watched a good 20 minutes and not catch you making abortion jokes. So unfortunately, no. Best ball guy's got a nice studio setup though. He's got the acoustic panels and shit. Good for him. Put that effort in. I don't know. You need to do it when you're starting a channel, but still sick panels. Whenever I see those little panels on the wall, I think our pal Arif Hassan, multiple times Splash Play alum Arif Hassan, who now does a great newsletter, by the way, the Wide Left newsletter. He's like the only guy, and this is like sad. He's the only guy doing football journalism right now, like dead spin kind of style journalism. And our pal Arif Hassan really does a good job of this. I would recommend checking it out. Let me see if I could find the link and drop it in chat because I think he's doing free trials now. Here we go. Here's the link. wideleft.football. If you're listening to the stream and if you're in the chat, check out Arif Hassan's newsletter. Really a good a good project. I've read a few of the pieces from him. I think he needs to do a Football Outsiders one. That's what I would say because he did a PFF one recently. But Arif does a really good job. So check out Arif's newsletter. Nearly added acoustic stuff. Have some on the back wall behind me. Yeah, the acoustic stuff's okay. Honestly, I mean, you guys could tell me. My acoustics in here are fine when I'm doing these kind of videos. When I do a TikTok in here, it gets a little bouncy and echoey. So the mic that I have, the Shure mic, for anybody who wants to stream, the Shure MV7, very good mic in terms of drowning that stuff out. We don't have a QB correlation here. The Jordan Love at pick 105 would feel pretty good. We should kind of need to make it up at RB, and Zach Moss is that kind of guy. So Zach Moss, come on down. RB2 in round 9 is Zach Moss with Pacheco Hero. Went away from it for a little bit. Arif is awesome. Arif is he also talked recently about his struggles with some mental illness stuff. I think he's dealing with OCD and something else. So look, I've always enjoyed doing shows with Arif. I actually, when we were talking about resuscitating Football Outsiders, Arif was the only person I reached out to be like, hey, like if I'm going to bring this back and make this live past all these guys who've been a part of the company for 20 years, you'd be one person I'd want on. And I think what he's done with that newsletter has like shown me exactly what I thought he can do as a creator. So I have to give a lot of flowers to Arif. I should probably just DM him and tell him that too. I always got to tell people the things that you think in your head when they're nice things. People don't hear nice things from you in your life, and it's important to tell them that while you're here and you have access to that person. But I would say for Arif though, like really just doing something interesting in a way where I'm a content snob about stuff. Obviously, I like to believe this show is something different, even though it's similar in the same way. But I try to do, you try to make your shit unique. Arif is doing something actually unique in a space where like reporting is so fucking lazy. Like you have your Twitter aggregators and shit, and like some of them do a good job, some of them don't do a good job. As somebody grew up in the Gawker days, the like where bloggers were still, there was some credibility you had to bring to it, and it did content too. It does kind of make me sad to see like Arif is the only guy actually putting an effort on that front. We got Brian Robinson here, would be a nice click. 7-pick discount for Brian Robinson, making it up at RB. We are good. We are good. My quality is huge without having to pad the room. Yeah, that helps a lot. I know this is the one that Pete had recommended to me, and I feel like a lot of people who I think have good quality audio have the same mic. We're going all over the place here. That's what happens, guys, and I appreciate that. Dylan saying, Spags, you are unique. Thank you. I try to be. But if you enjoy unique content here, and if you enjoy, again, just like, this is a human conversation here. If you drop stuff in chat, I'm going to reply to you for the most part, unless honestly, I reply to like everybody. So subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Drafts every day here going at 11 a.m. And today on Drafters, a doubleheader going Saturday and Sunday. I'll be giving away 2 tickets each day to the Drafters Million with $15 entry fees, $500K to first place. So if you want some EV off of me, doesn't have to just come to the draft room. I'll give you guys free entries coming up at the end of the video. So stay tuned. You are coming all over the place. That's sure. You're coming all over different streams. Sure, the black lights on your walls would not be a good time. That's how that goes. This room hates Jonathan Brooks. This room sees the O tag for Jonathan Brooks, and they're reacting like DraftKings drafters. I was not aware of that. Oh, man. Values at RB, though. I think I timed my pockets fairly well. I don't think Jay Watt's going to let Jonathan Brooks get past him. He seems like he's doing a sharp drafting job. That said, sometimes people appear sharp and then they show them true selves later on. But Jay Watt, I think, has got to scoop up Jonathan Brooks with one of these picks. Let's see. Full clock. There we go. Jonathan Brooks. You had to take 30 seconds to deliberate about Jonathan Brooks. I feel like, so I'll shit this guy for a moment here. I think he's doing a great draft. Felt like he just had to Google Jonathan Brooks to make sure, like Twitter search Jonathan Brooks to be like, wait a minute, am I like not, did I miss something here? That should not have been the 30-second clock. Fuck this guy for taking 60 seconds for his 2 picks. Jay Watt is losing one fan in the room. Come on. Shout out Tyler, you're going to go work out. Hey, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you guys hanging out. I know a lot of people last week doing lawn work while listening to the show. This week, you're probably reined in. So grab a beer. I don't know, if your kid's out of the house, if your wife and kid are out of the house, even better. Live the dream. We were playing a version of dodgeball in the house before I was streaming today, where I was chasing Luca around and throwing what we call the yoga ball, because it looks like a yoga ball, but it's like really what it's just like a big bouncy ball. It was just like pegging him with the ball, to be clear, not the other way that you would peg somebody. It was just like throwing shots at him, and he was loving it. He's a little fucking lunkhead sometimes, except when he does something bad and you have to scold him, and then he has to go cry to mommy and go like, because he picked up an ant trap we had in the house. I'm like, dude, that's fucking poison. Like, what are you doing? He's like, and he like walks over to mommy and starts crying. I'm like, dude, 2-year-olds are a special breed. So you want to be a little tough guy, a little big, strong man. All right. Picks coming up here. Could keep going at RB, take Zeke. Could add another receiver in, take Brandon Cooks. I think I'm a little more tempted by the latter. We could get a little week 17 correlation, which doesn't matter on drafters. But Brandon Cooks goes. There we go. So we won't get that option. I think at this point then, feels like in this room, Kirk should safely come back around. Receivers, Dotson and Gabe Davis, neither does a whole lot for me there. We'll go Zeke. Still team Zeke. I know that Rico Dowdle's flipped him. They should just be the same play to you. One's the younger version who hasn't proven anything. The other's the established vet the team loves to give high-value touches to. Either way, you're getting a shot at what they did last year with Tony Pollard, just giving him 5 to 6 goal line rushes a game. If you were to tell me which one would get that shot first, I think it's Zeke. So that's why I'm still team Zeke. 2-year-old toddler terrorists, they are. He's like a very fun, cute child. He's smart. He communicates well, all the stuff. but like he really is just like a little mama's boy bitch in a way. Where I'm sure I was when I was his age too. Like I was very tight with my mom until puberty, then started to do the separation a little bit more. But I think that we are raising a little mama's boy for sure. Anomalies explains saying 59 lurkers, 15 likes. Go ahead, squirt on that like, fellas. Yes, please slap that like button, tickle it, do all that stuff here. Your support goes a long way. Again, I'm just a sole proprietor here, showing my gambling here on stream every day, trying to talk to you about the football takes, all about that stuff, and bring you the best info that I can. And I hopefully have done a good job with it since January of this year. We're now 175 stream drafts in. So I've lived up to my half of the end of my end of the promise, I guess. So live up to your end of the promise that you didn't really make. And please hit the like button, subscribe, join the channel, do all that stuff. All right, we got Kirk Cousins back. With how these guys are falling, it might be possible to push him all the way back around. Tua falling precipitously. But at this point, Kirk is the most valuable player to you. Or, to me specifically, but in general, it would be. I'm just going to go Kirk. Don't mind Dotson, but this might be a room based on how they're overreacting to some stuff, like Brooks being out. Might be a room that pushes Dotson all the way back around because of the wide receiver 2 combo. So we'll see what happens. I do think Dotson would be a better play on drafters and underdog as well. And I still think Dotson's a good play on every site, even though people are now worried about the FUD from Dan Quinn. But it's a competition for wide receiver 2, and Dotson still does have draft capital behind him, still has earned targets in the past, still has shown big spike weeks in the past. So I still do believe in Dotson, even though in this room he's falling precipitously. We have Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins as the QB room so far. Feeling good about that. Could do 2 and be done, honestly. Pacheco, Zach Moss, Brian Robinson Jr., Ezekiel Elliott at RB. So 4 RBs with the hero RB start with Pacheco. A.J. Brown, Drake London, Chris Godwin, Hollywood Brown, and Jamal Williams. And Jameson Williams, not Jamal Williams. You take him at receiver, you're dead. You take Jameson Williams at receiver, you're probably doing okay. And Kyle Pitts here. So I like this team. I think this team has been pretty clean so far. Need to add more volume at receiver because after my top 2, I have questions. Godwin and PPR I'm okay with. I could live with the top 3, but I just don't think Godwin's really a wide receiver 3. I think he's more of a 4 in traditional 2024 best ball. Dotson won the 90s in your draft. That's surprising. I don't think there's good steam for him right now. The tough part, too, for the Commanders is that they're not going to play a lot in the preseason now because we saw the one big drive from Jaden. I think Jaden probably gets one more drive in this game coming up. I think it's today, maybe tomorrow. But I think he gets like 1 drive or 2. Going to be hard for the Commanders guys to show like that they deserve their spot as much as they maybe do deserve their spot. But Dotson's a weird one because like he's gotten good camp talk from Cliff Kingsbury. Then the signal with how they're handling him has not been good. So I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if I'm holding a shit sandwich to Jahan Dotson. Maybe he's a Robert Woods in this, Washington is Houston kind of thing. But I think Dotson's got talent. She had a crazy DK draft seeing Josh Allen go 103, Jaden the second. We got to assume that gets thrown out. That's too big of a reach probably. But DK doesn't do a lot of policing on that. For DraftKings to throw out a draft, you basically have to have it go viral on Twitter for him bitching about stuff. All right, Dotson came all the way back here. 30-pick discount on Dotson. He is week 17 correlation. We're going to go Dotson here. This is a windfall for this team. A PPR kind of receiver coming at pick 150, 30 spots after ADP. 153, really? This team is... Sometimes, man, I have a hard time building balanced teams, but this does work pretty well. I relate to the Chiefs defensive coordinator. Yes, related to him, and I, in fact, give him all his coaching. I tell him, hey, here's what we should do this week, coach. And we talk about it. No, we're not related. At least that I know. But he does spell the same name, which not a lot of people in America do. It's weird, though. There's a lot of Spagnolos that I'm connected to, like on... So there's one on LinkedIn who, so her name's, I shouldn't even say it, but it's fine. Her name's Christine Spagnolo. I don't know her. I'm not related to her, but she added me on LinkedIn at some point because we have the same last name, which does happen. I think when you have a unique or semi-unique last name, she's like posting thirst traps on Instagram as like an HR woman. And I'm like, hey, this is awkward because you have the same last name as me and like kind of like pretty hot, like tan, like classic, like Italian, hot, late 30s woman, I guess would be the best way to say that. I think it's the best way to say that. But so it's weird. I'm like Christine Spagnolo posting thirst traps here on LinkedIn. But there's a lot of people, yeah, she's using LinkedIn as ancestry. People on Facebook have added me because we have the same last name. I've thought about changing my last name legally to Spags, but that's not a normal last name, so I don't think I would. We got some more receiver pockets here that make sense. Josh Downs falling a little bit, 10-pick discount on him when we are a little bit light at receiver. I think makes sense. Josh Downs, definitely a PPR kind of guy. I like this RB pocket as well, but we need the receivers more. Gonna go Josh Downs here. I mean, if it were my cousin, it would have. So my last name, my dad was adopted, so my last name is not. So if I were related to a Spagnuolo, it would be through not really relation. So that's fine. But she doesn't look like my cousins, as far as I could tell. My cousins are all very Italian looking for the most part. So in that respect, sure. Got her 50 new followers today. If you love HR talk, if you love the fucking LinkedIn thing that some women do of like, here's a LinkedIn generic post about like learning about some part of my job. And then here's a random cute photo of me. And then, yes, you go follow Christine Spagnuolo with whatever her, I think she has like the fake HR credentials that are like the equivalent of an MD or JD at the end of her name. It's like Christine Spagnuolo, MSc or whatever. Like, so if you really want to dig down, there you go. There's a free plug for her. She'll be confused if anybody follows her, but knock yourself out. I don't care. I don't know her. Not really related to her. I think she's the only one I have in my feed, though, who like posts thirst traps on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, though, like fucking sucks, man. There was a point where I was posting on it for probably a little bit, and I just felt like it was just extra work that I don't enjoy. And like, I don't know. I feel like when you post on LinkedIn too about work stuff, I feel like you feel the pressure to be self-aggrandizing in a way that I'm just not comfortable with. So like, I don't enjoy LinkedIn at all. But when I go on LinkedIn, it's just like, it's more and more like Facebook every day. It's just people posting memes, people posting their political takes, people who have to like every pro-Israeli post that I get on my feed. And I'm like, God, this is fucking uncomfortable because like, whatever. But yeah, just, that's what LinkedIn is for me right now. And I'm not a big fan. Is every HR department a joke? I feel like there's been no industry that's suffered more from the visibility of LinkedIn than HR. Because HR people come off as the most batshit people on that platform. It's like it's HR people and it's startup founders / like CEOs who've had success. And then you have your usual grifters that you have on every platform. We have them in sports betting. You guys know the deal. Best ball. I don't think you have a lot of best ball grifters. I could accuse some people. I'm not going to. But there's grifters in every space. Be the main point. I just feel like LinkedIn is now like fucking grifter central. I don't know where she's from. Okay, our AI Adam back in here. I'm trying to think. Don't confuse me with facts. There we go. You're really fucking. I don't think this now. So like this guy comes off as AI. I don't think he's actually AI, but I think he's now doing it as a bit, and it's really fucking with me. Like, gotta give Adam Bayer credit. He's throwing me for a loop with these chats he's given. If you missed yesterday, it was a real showing, a tour de force by Adam of non sequitur chats. Fucking every position's been bled out here. We do need to get the second tight end in at some point. And I think Jonnu Smith helps that a little bit. These other guys here, none of them really do much to excite me. Will Levis is a third QB, doesn't do a whole lot. So we're going up for Jonnu here. Tight end run here was brutal. I needed that second tight end, and all these little guys needed to come in and get theirs. So that made that a little bit tougher than it should have been. Daniel Jones goes. No backdoor Daniel Jones and Theo Johnson. Hate to see that. That we could still take Theo. Might be a 3 tight end room. But 20 rounds, 3 tight end rooms, hard to argue them. Marshawn Lloyd went at 174 in this room. Tough to see. Guy gets hurt in camp, and we throw out everything good that we've heard about him before the injury. That's market ADPs for you. The CLV I will lose on Marshawn Lloyd. It's going to be really tough. Doesn't Juno have best spike? Oh, Jonnu. Yeah, I mean, Sinnott, I think, still has some. Parkinson probably has more than people realize. Juwan Johnson definitely has some spike week. But I think, Jonnu's okay. I would probably take Fant over Jonnu. I think he's got a more secure role. Probably wouldn't take Conklin over him. Would take Henry over him. All right, so receiver just coming back again. These guys are just not scooping any receivers at all. Pop Douglas as wide receiver 8. We need a 5th RB, but I don't think we need it right now. I'll take the discount here on Demario Douglas. Pearsall, by the way, is expected to be good for week 1. He's fallen in rooms. He probably should have been pricier the entire time. So I'm not saying go out of your way to take him, but I think people are now not taking him because of this Q tag. He should be fine. He's got a shoulder thing. So he's probably not even losing cardio really with a shoulder injury. So I would say for Ricky Pearsall, his fall is justified, but probably not justified for the reasons it's happening. What about Ertz? I'm not a believer in Ertz for the course of an entire season. On drafters, I guess Ertz can carry you a little bit farther because of the total points stuff. But Sinnett's just much more talented and younger, and I think at some point he gets there. So for the BBM part of things, like for trying to build your rosters, trying to spike them week 15 to week 17, I'd rather have Sinnett 9 times out of 10. On drafters, I'd still rather have them 6 to 7 out of 10, I think. But I believe in Sinnett's talent a lot more than most. I was the first person in the world to say Ben Sinnett's name on draft content, I believe, at least in terms of people talking about best ball stuff. So I am in the bag for Ben Sinnett, but I think he's a lot more talented than people realize. And Ertz is just the dude who's old and is missing camp right now for having another kid. Meh. Pop feels like a nice room solidifier for a PPR site. He does. He's definitely the guy who's going to be the slot, it looks like, for that team. So good for him. Sitting goes here to J Watt. J Watt's, that's his first tight end. So J Watt, not actually a smart drafter. He did some things here that appeared like smart drafter moves. And Sinnett as your tight end 1 is unequivocally not a smart room. Not a smart move at all. So 122 drafts. So you still get boxed out. You still get boxed out. Julie Ertz's husband was good at football at one point. Now he's too old. Now he's old and washed up. Guys, if you're trying to get to the next draft, you might want to start registering now. Sign up using promo code SPLASH at drafters.com. That's DRAFTERS.com. Drafters.com. Promo code SPLASH on there. You get a $100 deposit match. We're doing a second draft here. We're also going to do a giveaway. So you have to have a username for the giveaway. You have to have a username to draft with me here in that second draft. So do both of them right now at drafters.com. Promo code SPLASH. Oh, man. This team ended up, I feel like, very solid. I didn't find this to be the most exciting team building process in the world. A lot of this has just been scooping up value when the room has decided that they don't want to hit certain positions and pockets. But a clean room with 3 more rounds to go. This is one of those teams, too, where it's like, I don't even know what to take, really. Well, I know it's probably not Dameon Pierce no matter what. I have some Dulcich, but it's not a priority. All right, Dameon Pierce goes. We got one more pick here. All right. Tank Bigsby, come on down. When you got to solidify an RB room, Tank Bigsby is your guy in round 17, 18. Wherever you can get him. Just getting work. Signal from the team has been there. He looks infinitely better in camp than seems like he did last year. Can it fall apart in games again? Absolutely. He's one of the worst running backs to play football last year in terms of what he did in the field. But year 2, you're one of year 2 leap. You max the drafters $1 million? Yeah. Wasn't sure if you had 3 tight ends. Yeah, I mean, Parkinson's fine. We'll see if we get him back. Parkinson or Juwan would be a good 3rd tight end, but we don't really need the 3rd tight end. I think we needed a 5th RB more than a 3rd tight end with that last pick. This guy with his Machiavellian thoughts in a 12 hole. Juwan Johnson. If Juwan Johnson wins every tournament this year, just wouldn't shock me. Very rare to get a guy who literally won BBM last year for somebody and had the biggest spike week at tight end and have them going for free because they were hurt a while ago and they're fine and recovering in the path that they expected to be. Parkinson here would be okay. Chig would not be the worst. Gesicki would not be the worst. But nothing correlation-wise here, so let's go Parkinson. Still like Davis Allen enough that Parkinson worries me, this much. How's the strategy differ for you for total points versus playoff structure? Are you more best available on scoop value? Does zero RB matter less? Zero RB matters less, but it's still a play that's like it works as well on both sites. Makes me a little more inclined to do median projection stuff like Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown at the cost, like at not at a value. Whereas in BBM, if I'm taking AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, I do want to try to squeeze some value out of that because it's just an easy combo that you can get that people are going to be rolling into week 17 with at a lot of volume. On drafts, it just gives you more production over the course of the year. So that would be one part of it. Building this like these kind of more balanced teams, I think they feel okay sometimes on underdog, but really like the EV on them, if I had to guess, is not going to be as good. But here on drafters, because you do get rewarded more by having an RB that makes your roster a bunch, tight end that makes your roster a bunch. I think that having those maybe not be elites, but having them be a Pacheco, a Pitts, like a tier below elite. I think that works better on drafters overall. But it's not, it's not the hugest difference other than what we talked about earlier, where you have more bailouts at receiver because like late receivers can give you PPR points a lot more easily than they can, score a bunch of touchdowns. On underdog, you need your late receivers to score touchdowns. On drafters, you just need them to catch 5 to 8 balls. And that's a thing that can happen for guys late. Like Michael Pittman was a great play on drafters last year, was not as great of a pick on underdog. He was still good relative to ADP, but like he wasn't quite as good because he wasn't a touchdown hound. So those kind of players, I think, where there's less touchdowns, your Christian Kirks, your Pittmans, they carry a little bit further. Keenan Allens, those kind of guys. How far should Darnold be pushed up with McCarthy out for the year? I think he's still, to me, an 18th round pick. 16 I could live with if he were going after all these guys. He's got to go past all the regular starters, I think. To me, honestly, he should go after Derek Carr, but the public doesn't get Derek Carr. But he should be an 18th round pick. I think ideally he goes for you when you have Jefferson, because a bet on Jefferson, you pretty much need Darnold to hit, but you have the fate and risk that, especially for an underdog. Like he might not play in week 17. Like he might be a guy that eventually the wheels just kind of fall off for him. Nick Mullins comes back in as a safety blankie. That is a possibility. I don't think it's a likelihood, but it's a possibility. If the team falls to like 4-12, Darnold sits, and that's where you're in trouble. Pippin in the 40s on drafters feels nice. That's definitely better. Him and that, I've said before, him and that Zay Flowers, Tank Dell range. I think that's pretty much right. Pierce is feeling solid late. Now these teams have solidified the RB2 job. I still don't like him. He, to me, is just pure contingent value. We saw what he was last year. The team didn't trust him. They've kept him around mostly out of inertia and the fact that nobody else stepped up enough. But I think Jawar Jordan is probably a better fit for the team. He plays like Joe Mixon, and that's kind of one-cut style is what you need more for a Houston offense and better pass protection. It's possible Dameon Pierce improves year 2 to year 3, can be the biggest leap a guy has. It's those first 3 years, year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3 leaps that can be there. But I don't know. I think Mixon would have to get hurt and then fall off, and Pierce would have to come in. But I'm just not the biggest believer overall in Dameon Pierce at this point. And I wasn't last year either, and it's pretty right about that. I'm gonna blow my nose, bear with me. Like I've had half a cold for like a fucking month now. Could just be the AIDS. RB here. Will Shipley, not a guy I believe in this format in round 19 with a bet on Philadelphia. I believe in him a little bit more. RB6, Will Shipley, come on down. Then one more pick. We'll do a second draft here. And of course, we'll do the giveaway at the end of 2 Drafters Million tickets, $15 entry fees. We'll give them away at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Oh, man. It's hot in here for it being a rainy day. Like the humidity kicking up. Ugh. Wait for this next pick. Throw the football. Oh, one-hander. Odell Beckham drafting the team here. Johnny Wilson last round hit. There we go. COVID, so I hope not. Fucking first time I got COVID sucked so bad. That was post-vaccination, but got the coughing. Ugh. We'll never forget the bone-jarring coughs. That was the worst. Now, I'll take a brave take here. No thank you to COVID. Don't want it. If you still freak out about it in 2024, I would say. One of my friends is like one of the, definitely a COVID freaker outer who swears he got long COVID. And I think it's just more, little bit of depression mixed in, which just, but that's what I think of that stuff in general. A lot of people going, oh, like I have long COVID. It's like, you're just depressed. You're just kind of going through it, which I get it. We got one last pick here. Got our 3 receivers, 2 QBs, 6 RBs, more than enough at receiver. Ray McLeod, PPR guy. Javon Baker, I don't mind, but I don't really think of him as a PPR guy. I'm going Ray. I'm Team Ray. All right, final team here. Got Hurts, Kirk Cousins. Got Pacheco, Zach Moss, Brian Robinson Jr., Ezekiel Elliott, Tank Bigsby, Will Shipley. So felt good about the top 4. Maybe could have gone a little bit thinner for RB5, but we have the Pacheco hero. We still got volume. I still like Bigsby and Shipley in a 20-round draft I can live with. A.J. Brown, Drake London, Chris Godwin, Hollywood Brown, Jameson Williams, Jahan Dotson, Josh Downs, Demario Douglas, and Ray McLeod. So we got a lot of good PPR guys late here at huge discounts, and I think that makes the team feel a lot more confident. We have, of course, Ray stacked up with Kirk Cousins as well. Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, Colby Parkinson. Tight end 2 and 3, a little bit thinner than we'd like, but we have the elite tight end, so it works. And now we go, guys. Another team here. If you've been waiting for it to get in a draft, because the one I started with Snapfield, we're entering it right now. Fast draft here, you can see the prize structure, 500K to first, 200K to second, 100K to third. And again, good shot here of overlay with the amount of entries they have going. 3 more spots left. Let's see how we do. So player I have 50% of on Tractors and 0% on Underdog. Who could this be? Interesting. I don't want to play the game, but an interesting question. If I had to guess, it would have to be somebody who is more PPR relevant and cheaper. Is it Josh Downs? I think Josh Downs would make sense. I don't think it's Josh Downs, but that would be one where I could see given his price tag. He was a guy who was going to cruise to the 120s if he didn't have his ankle sprain. Christian Kirk? That'd be a lot of Christian Kirk, man. 50% Christian Kirk would be brutal. I don't like Christian Kirk, even with the situation. There you go. Our guy Utah Sports in the 1 hole. I don't know. Kid and our guy Dylan here. Kid Presentable, who I always forget. Is that Benny? Benny, are you Kid Presentable? I think that is. Chunk the Deuce here. So we got some regulars. And Babel Elon here. I don't think he's a regular. He's in another room here. Not a wide receiver. All right. Gamble, see, just give the reveal. I don't want to play the guessing game, but I am curious to know. So please reveal who it is. All right, Kid Presentable is Benny. There we go. All right, so we got 40 seconds left. You guys know the rule. It's union rules here. I don't have to entertain you while we're waiting for a draft to fill. Just going to throw this football up, unless you find this entertaining. Oh, lefty one-hander. Let it never be said that Spags can't catch the football in addition to holding it. I actually was thinking the other day, I wish I had a jugs machine. They're like fucking $4,000. I'm not going to get one, but I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind just catching some balls. I don't know if I want rocket balls, like that's the thing, but I keep trying to get Luka to like want to play catch, and instead he like starts to like hit the ball and whatever. He's very into the idea of like baseball and cricket stuff. But like, I just want to fucking play catch. Like I have a kid now. He's going to be, at some point want to do it more. But I just want to have a catch, man. I want the jugs machine to fire some balls at me. Oh, Taysom. 50% Taysom's a lot of Taysom, man. But I don't hate the price point. He's a guy I took a lot last year on DraftKings and Drafters. Makes a lot of sense. I could see it. All right, picking in the 7 hole here. Entry number 21 for me. Let me update the banner. This is now draft number 176 on the year. Drafters Million number 21. 176, not a sexy number, but we are going to hit 200 by the end of the summer, guys. So we'll have hit my goal. I had a reasonable goal, an OCD goal to get 200 stream drafts on the year. We're going to have it. He's grossly misranked. I don't know if I go grossly, but he's a good pick at his ADP. I mean, where's he going here? He's going 137. I mean, last year he's going 150s, 170s. I couldn't pass him up there. That range, I think you have other options still, but I get it. Amon-Ra here, or Amon-Ra, if we're going to pronounce the name correctly, feels pretty good. Amon-Ra, pick 7. Come on down. Drafters, apparently not one of the sites here, knocking Justin Jefferson down for the Sam Darnold QB start, even though that was always going to be the thing that happened. But Sam Darnold starting on some sites now. You get Jefferson in the 8 hole, in the 9 hole. I don't think he should have. Skipped a lot of 165 to 175 Taysom and May. Yeah, that's a good price tag for him. 130s, it gets a little bit thinner. I still think he can hit. 160s, 170s, he is a lot better than every play in that range. Sure, guy Jerry here coming in. The politest chat of anybody entering room. Glad to see Jerry here. Took Tyreek number 1 to balance out my exposure. So you do that or always take the best guy. If you're 28 entries in, I probably wouldn't do it now. I would just play it how you're handed it. If you're maxing stuff out, you want to be more, aware of your nickel and diming exposures a little bit more. But that's how I feel about it. Obviously, you have more flexibility on drafters, and it's personal choice more than anything. Most of 150 or later still liking tons of the current ADP. That's fair. I wouldn't dollar cost them up, though, to be honest, if you have that much of them. Seems like not the best exposure management, but follow your heart. Najee or Brian Robinson will have a better year. Man, I think Brian Robinson personally, but obviously the ADP favors Najee. So markets have made their choice. Devontae Adams here, Cooper Kupp here. Kind of similar plays to me. One on a team that should be better. I'm low on Kupp overall this year. We'll get him here. PPR site, get a share of Kupp. Kupp at 18, though, feels awful, man. Like, people, you might forget or you might have missed it if you weren't drafting earlier in the year, which is a completely logical thing to do given how it is like a crazy person thing that we were drafting in January, and I was drafting in January every day. That said, Cooper Kupp was going in the 50s at one point in every draft out there, and now he's at pick 18 regularly. Sometimes he goes to the 1-2 turn I've seen. Like, this is not where this should be. Played Superflex on drafters? No, I'm not a big Superflex guy. I'm going to get all the entries I can get in the drafters million relative to bandwidth and all that, but I'm not going to play Superflex. But it's good that they have it. I know they brought it in because they, again, I talked to one of the co-founders pretty regularly. They brought it in because they know people like Superflex. So they are a site that, to their credit, if you like Superflex, make sure that Superflex tournament fills, because otherwise, you run the risk of not having them. Drafters million, though, next year. They really, I think they have to unfortunately cut the entries down on that a little bit if I had to guess. But who knows? Who knows? We talked about it earlier. Right now, the drafters million, just a little bit less than 40% filled. If I had to guess, and it's not my expertise, but if I had to guess, probably looking at about 75% filled by the time the tournament closes. So looking at 400K and overlay going into this tournament, which would be huge. So drafters million is one that I would focus on if you are playing on drafters personally. But, follow your hearts. Play what brings you joy, as always. You kept going to the 4th and 5th round is a nice time. And that's one of those ones, too, where it was like, why was that even happening? Like, I don't know. But I just didn't scoop enough of it, to be honest. We have DJ Moore, Derrick Henry, Isaiah Pacheco here. Moore, a little bit of a discount. I think he's the same play, PPR and half PPR. We will go DJ Moore, though. So in a Amon-Ra, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore start. Looking more 0 RB than hero RB so far. We'll see what we get. $15 a weird price point. It's the cheapest in the biz for a tournament where you can win that much money. Honestly, if I had to say what I think it is, and this is me, again, knowing business a little bit, knowing DFS business a little bit / best ball, I think what happened to drafters and DraftKings this year, which is also suffering massively in terms of, their shot of having overlay. Underdog put out too many tournaments. Like, Underdog, I think, also has a hard time filling some of their tournaments. So the trickle down is basically, if Underdog has too many tournaments, can't fill everything. Then Drafters has too many tournaments, can't fill everything. And DraftKings has too many tournaments, it can't fill everything. And I would say those two kind of evenly. DraftKings has the upshot of people that are on their platform because of sports betting, because of DFS. They put in some entries because they have bankroll and they see the promos. Drafters doesn't really have that. They have their pick'em people who are playing. Maybe some people playing other sports will try football out. But, that's sort of the big issue, really, is that Underdog from the top down puts out too much. Drafters and DraftKings then don't have enough people to fill their tournaments because those people are filling the Underdog tournaments. As a result, you end up with overlay across the industry. So honestly, I don't know if that was an intended consequence, but if competitively, if you're Underdog right now, they are fucking killing Drafters and DraftKings a little bit in terms of what they're putting out. We got the double stack here for Laporta. I'm not going to look the gift horse in the mouth. We'll get Laporta here with Detroit. There we go. What site do I prefer, underdog or drafters, and why? It's the same thing. I mean, fundamentally, they both have good mobile apps. One's full point PPR. Right now, I would say, like, for me, in terms of my career, winning BBM would be the biggest thing I could do for myself. So that's the main thing for me. So that's always something I'm going to hold in esteem. And I enjoy Underdog's experience. I enjoy the community we have around that. That said, for drafters, they are a site that cares about their players. It's full point PPR. You don't have pods. You don't have playoff pods. And you don't have to sweat it quite as much. So for the upside of like views or whatever, Underdog is definitely worlds ahead. In terms of like your EV as a player, drafters, I would say probably goes further. But, you know, like if I win the drafters million, yeah, it'd be sick. It'd be awesome. It'd be a great time. It wouldn't change my fate as a content creator. If I win BBM, I'm now, you know, especially with the way that I did this of showing my work since January, we now have like a track record showing me as like a genius of fantasy football. And I know it sounds like stupid, but like, that's how I view it. So yeah, like Underdog for the clout, drafters for the actual EV. Be the way I try to explain that. So for you guys, really, unless you are a clout chaser, I would say drafters EV. But do them both. Like they both have merits. Drafters like the marathon and Underdog, and I was having issues filling. The marathon was taken from drafters. The marathon's format was lifted from the format drafters have been doing for years. But yes, it's having a hard time filling because they put out too many tournaments. Yes, same thing. You guys are all on the same page. You got it. Which I think was a logical thing to do, but you know, depends what the approach is. Is your approach to be like great for the best ball community to the point where you're letting other sites have ability to continue to exist and do the thing they do uniquely? Or is your goal to be the go-to place for best ball? And I think Underdog chose the latter, and I think it was a fair choice by them for sure. Kamara's up on 57 on drafters. This motherfucker is really high on drafters. He's in the 70s in Underdog. I get the PPR thing. That's a lot. Man. I don't mind Kamara at that price tag. He shouldn't be above Cook. I'll go Ridley here. Oof. Use your code for drafters last night. Pop your cherry. 100% deposit match. Easy peasy. Shout out Mr. Popinski. Glad to hear that. Yes. Use the promo code SPLASH at drafters.com right now. $100 deposit match. Again, you just saw Mr. Popinski's chat. It's an auto match. It's not something where you have to build up and, you know, put some entries in to get the rake on it. You just get your deposit match right away. So check it out at drafters.com. And really, I would say for yourself, again, like I hopefully made the case pretty well there. You want clout? Play an Underdog. And I want clout. So I'm doing that too. You want to get the most TV for your bankroll? You want to have a shot at finishing top 110 with 9 entries like I did last year? That's drafters. I think it'd be really hard to do that in Underdog, to be totally candid. Not to the point where you should be like mad about it. I've seen a lot of people lately being mad. Actually, it was on I had watched the video with Pete and Fareed Shaheed on Deposit Kingdom, where Pete did a draft them, a pre-recorded one where he edits it down and does all that stuff. A lot of the comments though, they're like shitting on Fareed Shaheed, like this guy only won because he had 150 entries, or like some people actually were like, this guy only won because he had 1,000 entries because they think you could somehow get 1,000 entries in. And it's like, we're at that stage of best ball where Fareed Shaheed is not, he's not like Osimo. He's not, you know, fucking Utica. He's not one of these like 150 max or DFS players. He's an average guy who was driving a truck to make enough money to enter a tournament. And he entered the tournament and he won it and maxed it out. And like, and he didn't max it out, but he won it off of that. We're in the season now where people are getting really conspiratorial is what I would say. Read the comments on that video and you'll go like, what the fuck is going on here? Insane. All right. We are coming up here. Walker, I like a lot. Deontay Johnson is wide receiver 5 on a PPR site would also feel pretty good. Really just more of a structural choice more than anything. Walker's coming up for me. Deontay, though, to make this room feel pretty solidified, I think is pretty good. So we're going to go Deontay here, wide receiver 5. I like Walker, though, I have to say. Walker, to me, moving ahead of Rachaad White, a good move. Lots of great signal for Kenneth Walker. For Rachaad White, the signal has been that they brought in Bucky Irving. He looks good, and they really need Rachaad White to be more efficient, or else they're going to give him less touches. I don't think the signal for Rachaad White's good right now, and he just is one of those guys, price locked, hasn't moved. Got 32% Ridley in about 200 drafts. That's a lot of Ridley, man. I'm not that in on Ridley. I could get to 12 to 16% Ridley, and I'd be okay with it. 32% is a lot. He's better than what in that range? Like he's a very similar play to I mean, Hollywood, Keaton, I think he's really fairly priced. I have no issue with Ridley. I'm just surprised to hear that big of a take. That is aggressive Ridley. Freed's so humble. People like him deserve to win. I mean, look, I'd say content creator who did all the content from January probably deserves to win the most. But no, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He gave Splash Play a shout out. He watched the show last year. I'm sure he watches occasionally still, from what I've heard from him. So I like Freed. He's a good guy. But he's definitely not like, if you're one of those people out there, it's like, oh man, he only won because he maxed it out. He's like the hope of everybody out there. Like, if you guys are going to max out a tournament, him achieving that is like a sign you can do it without being Pat Crane, without being, a guy who knows chess really well, like Liam Murphy, who has like some game theory experience. So I would read it the opposite way. But people in that YouTube comments did not. Get really worked up. That is a lot of worthy. 30% worthy across. First of all, 1,500 fucking drafts. Jesus Christ. It's too many drafts. It's a lot of drafts. Oh, we got starved at... Wait, no, never mind. I'm clicking wide receiver. It's like we got starved at RB. No, we're okay. CJ Stroud here doesn't make sense. DeAndre Swift, we talked about last time. Swift as the hero of this build, quote unquote. But really, 0 RB start with DeAndre Swift is more the move. So 1 RB through 7 rounds, 5 receivers, 1 tight end. Detroit doubles going off. Honestly, wouldn't mind a Detroit triple. But Swift does feel good. All in on the Titans offense here, honestly. Target share in that area compared to Allen and Brown, I guess. I like Tennessee too. I still think that he and Hopkins are basically 1-to-1 with each other, assuming Hopkins is going to be healthy, which I do assume. And then you have enough guys coming in. The RBs are going to get targets. Like, Ridley's not like a 10-target guy at the stage of his career. I think you're hoping for 7 really good targets for him, 7 to maybe 9 occasionally. I don't know. Like, I like Ridley, so you're making me make a case here, but like 30% of anybody in that range, like, the projections aren't that far off for these guys. Like Kirk, Pickens, Allen, Ridley, Brown, Worthy, even Jaden Reed, Deontay. I feel like these are all fairly flat projections. So like anywhere where there's like a flat projection for guys, I don't want to load up on that guy. Whereas like I load up on Jaden Daniels and Marshawn Lloyd because like around their range, there's nobody I see who has that level of ceiling around those guys. But if you feel that way about Ridley, more power to you. I guess I don't see it. Okay, it's a lot of Hopkins too. It's a lot. 30% of anything. To me, like 30% is a guy who you just feel like the markets have mispriced. Ideally, who's also young and has some upside and hasn't hit their ceiling yet. 30% is a lot, man. I know, and I know I pushed my exposures, but it's usually on guys where it's like a little bit later. But hey, Ben's got a cool name. Ben Bennett's a powerful name. The CEO name if I ever heard one. So I'll trust your judgment, man. But that's a lot. It's a lot. Aaron Jones here, a little bit of a discount. We're just going to keep scooping the RB discounts here, making it up at this position. Aaron Jones, come on down. Chicago, Minnesota, big NFC North bet here. So we have Swift, Aaron Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, and then we have a Sam Laporta share, elite tight end. So obviously want to get Jared Goff at some point. But besides that, flexibility for QB2 for sure. All these QBs come up late. Feeling okay about it. What do you think do today's NFL schedule? What? I have no idea what you're asking, Greg. That was not a sentence. There are games on today. I don't know what. Am I going to watch those games? I don't have a preference. I don't know what the schedule is. I'm at the exact same spot with you, Luke McCaffrey. But again, he's a young guy who still could win like the wide receiver 2 job technically, and that's upside. So I can live with Luke McCaffrey. I wish he were not an 18th round pick. I would have felt better about my bags for him as a 16th round or 15th rounder, like on the upswing. But yeah, like I'm with you on McCaffrey. But I still think that bet's a little bit more interesting. You're the CEO of fucking Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins exposure. You're managing an investment firm based upon age and Titans receivers. But look, hey, I respect having a take is still something you can do. Just in general, though, you know the rule of thumb for best ball. Trying to be mindful of your exposures. I learned the hard way a couple of years in a row, including last year, where got AR right, and then he fucking cost me 25% of my portfolio because he couldn't go. So that's something where you can get stuff right. It could still not work out. You get stuff right, it could still kill you in week 17 because there are other players in that exact same range where they spike in week 17 and your guy doesn't. So that's just what I would say to anybody who has a lot of exposures. If you're going to have your exposures, you got to go in eyes wide open with what it's going to be. That's my suggestion for anything, though. My next draft is one that I'm not surprised by that, Bobby, given you're hunting for players to fill rooms very often. We have RB here, would look pretty good again. Brian Robinson, I do like. I'm not going to stop with Brian Robinson here. B-Rob, come on down. I'm going to be low on Jaden Daniels on drafters. I've not gotten him to come back to my spots very often. And I haven't forced my way to him. Maybe a priority for the last few doubleheaders here. We got another 5 doubleheaders before the season ends on drafters. So got to get some more B-Rob for sure. Out on all Vikings except Jefferson. What about you, to be clear, my name is Chris. Spags, if you want to go by that. But I'm not out on all Vikings. No, I think there's a lot of great plays there. In fact, I took one of them here. I think the RBs are good plays. Think that Addison and Jefferson are good plays. I think Naylor is an interesting late round play. I feel the exact opposite of you, in fact. But I love Jefferson. But the Vikings are a well-coached team. Again, it all comes down to scheme and will for teams and what they have in terms of the talent profile there. With what Kevin O'Connell got last year out of Nick Mullins, I think he's going to get the best version of Sam Darnold, who also had a year rehabbing with Kyle Shanahan last year, which is the best coach you would say to rehab a QB, get them to have more value for the next stage of their career. Obviously, it didn't work out for Trey Lance, but, I would say in general, that'd be how I would view that. So I'm not out in Minnesota. Enjoy them quite a bit. Good shots. Spags, you're a savage. You had an exit. What are we talking about here? I don't know what we're speaking about specifically. In terms of selling a company, I have sold a company before, but I don't know what that's. I know that's about Anomalies Explained. Explain your anomalies. Anomalies Explained. Got really lucky in my first draft receiving Jaden fell to 105. Randomly took in a round 20 Darnold before the JJ news. Hey, that's time to do it. Round 20 Darnold makes a lot of sense. Would have taken McCarthy generally over him, but obviously that's not the case anymore. Goff matters a lot for this team, but I still don't want to go up and get him. You can add in one more RB here. Feel good about that. Second tight end to close that would be okay. But I will add in Gus Edwards here. Rico Dowdle. Rico's coming up. Gus feels better. Still would have Gus ranked ahead of Rico Dowdle at this point. The Dowdle steam to me is coming really out of nothing. Oh yeah, I had sold my site Guyism to the company that's now Uprocks, but basically ended up with enough money to pay off our lawyer and our advisor and my student loans, and then a little bit of money for our staff, and then the stock ended up being worth nothing. So yes, I did have an exit, but that was not the best one. I had the classic startup experience where you go to another company and then they fucking ruin your life and are coked up ad execs who waste too much money. I've won MMA DFS tournaments before, but not recently, no. The main thing for me, I would pull UFC stats. I also looked at weigh-ins, but that was during COVID. I don't know if looking at weigh-ins mattered much. But pulling the UFC fighter stats, I tend to find the most valuable. Guys who throw a lot of strikes, absorb a lot of strikes, those fights tend to be the best ones to target. But yeah, I won MMA at one point during COVID, during that May or June. Thoughts on last round AOC Minshew and which you prefer, if either, neither? I think Minshew wins the job to start, but I'm not even I still think it's a pure coin toss. Minshew to me having more explosive plays, and then the fact that AOC can then be the guy you backstop him with. It's usually how teams would run that. The Raiders, I would say, are not traditional in that front, but usually you'd want to have a guy where hey, the star player, or rather the young player comes in, fills in for the guy then, and then you have a shot of him getting the locker room rejuvenated, then you build around that guy for next year. I would think that's how you should approach it, but O'Connell's such a low pedigree guy that they might just run with him from week one and see what he has, and then they go to Minshew, and it just ends up being a year. These guys trade the job back and forth. I really would have a hard time taking either. I would just go, especially not on drafters. If you're building for week 17 on underdog, I would just take the New Orleans side if you have a Vegas stack and put that with it. It's part of why I have so much Derek Carr this year. I think watching weigh-ins helps a ton. Yeah, I mean, I felt like it did, but I don't know. I don't think it really mattered. This guy took unstacked Jared Goff. He sure did. Unstacked Jared Goff is QB fucking 3 when you're 62 drafts in? Oh! Fucking SMD 99. Unfucking believable. What a stupid fucking dumb shit pick. Oh, man, there's the tilt. People who love me getting sniped and tilting. That was so fucking dumb. You have so many drafts. You need to know better when you do 60 fucking drafts. Oh. All right, so we lose the Detroit double. Motherfucker. We have enough late outs, so we'll be okay. But what a fucking idiot. That's so many drafts to be that stupid. I've talked before. I do think Washington, you could take both RBs. And I think we're going to do it here. Austin Eckler, second RB. Motherfucker. Welcome to draft. Welcome to every platform. But God, like, especially on drafters, because you could see the count of drafts. Like, we talked about red badge drafters on Underdog maybe not being the sharpest because you could just lose money for 1,000 drafts over the course of a couple of years now. And, like, there's people that have done that. But here, for this year, when you have 62 fucking drafts and you're reaching for Kyler and you reach for Tua, also unstacked, you take Jared Goff, also unstacked, that's just awful. That's just not... that you're wasting all this money. I hope a lot of these entries were the free ones from drafters. That's a terrible usage of money. If you think that's a good draft, you've done 62. No, because he also took fucking Tua. He took Tua at 117 on stack too. Oof. Fucking brutal. Anyway, this is me obviously being mad about it, but like legit, if you build a team like this is not a smart team to build. He was doing fine here. Like this team was doing okay. Even reaching a little bit for Kyler. I get it. But God, dude, and you need RBs. Like, he's a 0 RB team. Pick up some RBs instead of reaching for 2 QBs that aren't correlated. I hope he paid for him. I mean, yes, I do hope he lost the most money possible. You know what? Good point by Matthew here. Chat time. SND, how have you done 60 drafts and you're still taking unstacked QBs ahead of ADP? Is it a medical condition? Is it... No, I don't get... All right, there we go. We've chatted. What a fucking idiot, man. So, but again, I can't be more clear about it. If I'm going to spend 60 times 15, what, $900? I'm going to spend $900 on something. I should know what I'm doing before I do it. I should know. I should do research. I should learn a little bit about the fucking thing. I will defend that. Dotson falling again in this room. A.D. Mitchell also here. Dotson, another receiver. There you go. Thank you, Chunk. Unfucking believable, though. Really, this guy. Hate this guy deeply, though. We'll tell you that. Crazy, there's a chat feature. Yeah, the only platform with the chat feature, which frankly, I've used it to be nice on stream before. In fact, I've only exclusively used it for that purpose because I would like to, you know, when you're chatting, I don't want to be a troll when I'm fucking doing an advertiser paid fucking stream. That said, learn to fucking draft, idiot. It's what I would say. But really, though, the biggest thing, I'm being really hard on this guy because he's the worst thing to happen to me this weekend. But like for you guys out there, legit, like if you're going to put in this many fucking entries, just know what you're doing, especially on a tournament. This is not cheap. It's not the $2 tournament. Like, unbelievable. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. That's all I'll say. Pay good money for a chat feature on Underdog. You think you would, and you're going to find out. I mean, these names that you see there are actually like huge fucking assholes. So that'd be the trade-off. Maybe they're Cardinal fans and Dolphins fans and Lions fans. Again, you doing anything for fun that costs you $1,000 is like fucking outrageous. You like the fun of gambling is winning and gambling. The fun of gambling isn't just clicking random colors out of sequence. And like, you want to do that, play fucking Simon. like, I don't know, but don't draft best ball teams is what I would say. Anyway, I hope this guy meets an unfortunate end. Yeah, I think that's more because of the randomness of things than it is those builds working, is what I would say. Anyway, we have Cooper Kupp. We'll take Matthew Stafford here. We'll trade one former Statuesque Lions QB for another. Matthew Stafford is the first QB off the board here with that stupid Jared Goff snipe. I mean, you look at this guy's board, this is what he's doing. He's like, oh, pretty color, pretty color. Correlation is still important. Especially on drafters. Like if I had to bet money on my team worked last year, it was because it was well correlated. And I had fucking receivers that were dead. I had Terrace Marshall on that team last year that I had finished top 110 on drafters. Correlation matters. Like it, I don't know. Just gonna drink this beer. Just gonna drink this beer. If you thought it was super flex, then great deals on Tua and Jared Goff. I would give him that. If it were super flex, tremendous deals. Anyway, I think I know what our hashtag is going to be. They're going to put profanity in the hashtag today or fuck SND. That's going to be our giveaway coming up here in after round 20. Be giving away 2 entries to the Drafters Million. So you too could see somebody waste $1,000 and kill your team in real time. Yep, I am the asshole with Kupp. The trickle-down effect is now fuck Chunk. But yeah, I had Kupp, and I wanted Jared Goff, and now I had to take another QB. And Matthew Stafford is that QB, unfortunately. But you took Levis, so now I can't get him. So we all hurt each other because of SND. Fucking, I'm just going to chug this beer at this point. I have like half of it left because I did not drink enough during the first hour. All right, we'll make a mediocre pick here, and then we'll do that. At this point, fucking might need QB3 because might not get him back. But I will take Demarcus Robinson here. And to celebrate this great Demarcus Robinson pick, we're going to chug this beer. Duh. I'm so mad at this guy. I've been tilted on stream many times this year. This might be one of the worst tilts because I really would have expected somebody who drafts a lot to not do that. And I can't get over it. I can't get over it. I can't get over he doesn't reply in the chat. Do you have nothing to say for yourself, SND? You have wreaked havoc in this room while only contributing to losing your $1,000 in entries. Okay. Here we go. I think you would be upset about my tilt because you were personally aggrieved by it. This one hurts me a lot more. I'll tell you what, this is fucking stupid. The worst tilt, though, is still Jeremy the Draft Stalker ruining teams of mine repeatedly on stream for about a month straight. That was the worst tilt. This tilt, though, just expect better. I tried to be fair. Thank you. Thank you for reviewing my angry chats. You can take Gino. That's true. Jake Bobo will be there. The Jake Bobo DJ Dallas combo will be there for me late. I'm not taking unstacked Sam Darnold. This is a fucking Bryce Young team. And it's honestly a Bryce Young now team, I think, given how these fucking idiots are. But we could probably push Bryce around. Is it even worth it at this point? What am I getting for it? I don't think it's worth it. I'm just going to fucking reach for Bryce Young 20 picks early because of this idiot. This idiot's trickle down has made me show I need Stafford and Bryce Young. Thank our guy Dylan in chat. He's setting up a back stack with Brock Wright. Yeah. The Brock Wright, Doris Fountain back stack for Goff is going to be great. He's going to backstack Miami with Malik Washington and Durham Smythe as well. Going to be doing great. You do have Naylor. Good point by Brodster. You do have Naylor late. You could do the Johnny Munt, Naylor, Sam Darnold stack late. Unbelievable. This is my relaxing stream. The weekend stream. Drafters, no pods. The good news, though, I will say for this guy, like, I don't have to see him in a pod again. So I don't have to see Jared Goff beating me after fucking 14 weeks. And this guy's still not advancing any further behind beyond the first round of the playoffs. I don't have to deal with that on Drafters. That is one perk here at drafters.com, promo code SPLASH. $100 deposit match on there, pure deposit match as well. You get it hitting instantly when you put your money in. So check it out. And of course, hey, if you deposit between today and tomorrow, I'll give you a shout out on stream tomorrow as well. So check that out. Deposit now. Money. Pick coming here. Guy OG Mans fan. OG Mans fan, 39 entries in too. Our guy Jason. Ooh, the Minnesota. Honestly, you could maybe I should build some like really weird late stacks just on here for fun. Geno Smith's still here. If only he correlated with literally anything. You know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I'm sorry to whoever else needed Geno Smith in this room. I'm sure somebody here needed him. Well, no, Greg's got 2 QBs. He's okay. But I'm sure somebody in this room needed Geno Smith. Too bad. I'm taking him. I don't give a fuck. Fucking tired of this guy. Gonna backstack Geno. I mean, I'm going to hope Noah Fant comes back to 199 is really what I'm going to hope. But if not, I'm doing Jake Bobo and I'm doing DJ Dallas for the bit. I think the Eskridge got cut. I think the Eskridge is finally off the team. Let me check that. Seattle Seahawks. Whittington is not around 20 pick anymore, my friend. Whittington is now around 17, 18 pick. Even on underdog, he goes in the 17, 16 round now. Whittington has fucking come up tremendously. All right, out of our options for Seattle, here we go. We can backdoor stack Geno. If Noah Fant goes, we could take Pharaoh Brown. We could do a Pharaoh Brown, Derek Young, Jake Bobo triple. Still have Visca there. We could take Laviska Shenault, who was on my BBM finalist a couple of years ago, surely out of not knowing who to take in the 18th round and wanting correlation. Yeah, D. Eskridge, unfortunately, no longer on the team. I'm sure you were doing a joke. I believe you were doing a joke. I think this whole draft has become a joke once I lost the Detroit double. But yeah, D. Eskridge still on the roster. I think he might be a cut, but he is still on the roster. ESPN has him behind Jake Bobo and Shenault and Derek Young. Oh, there's been a trickle-down tilt effect, I'll tell you what. And it only gets worse from this guy not fucking replying in chat. Just take your lumps in chat, SND. Fucking Christ, man. Let me get the victory of you being like, oh, I don't know. I made a mistake. He also took fucking Sam Darnold. What are you doing? You have so many QBs. You have Kyler Murray already. Kyler Murray's technically an elite QB with where you took him. Oh, you needed... Actually, he actually has correlation with Darnold. Never mind. You know what? Darnold he has with Jefferson. So that was the one logical fucking pick he made. So I'm not going to make that chat. But what a cock. What a cock. Ugh. God, I hate him. 6th RB here would be a decent pick, I think. Take Bigsby as RB6 still feels pretty good. Estime wouldn't feel bad. I think Bigsby's a more live play than Estime right now. I'm going to go tank. I still like Audric Estime. His price tag came up a little bit too high from those reports a couple weeks ago, and he just shouldn't be priced like where he is right now. Like Kendre should be ahead of him. Bigsby should be ahead of him. Who else should be ahead of him? I think Justice Hill should be ahead of Estime right now. We know he's got a role alongside Derrick Henry. Again, I love Estime. Estime is like a pure 18th round pick to me. He went up too high for a while. I took tank from you. Sorry about that. It's coming and Cox are being thrown. It's true. I did throw Cox around. I'm sure he was pissed I took Geno Smith. I legitimately take Jake Bobo today. Feel pretty confident about that. Sign up last week with your code SPLASH on Drafters. Shout out to T-Was. Appreciate that. You done any Superflex draft? Feel like people are overdrafting QBs. On Superflex, there's no such thing as overdrafting QBs. So I would say right away, get that out of your head if you're going to do Superflex. You can try to build teams around it. You can do hero QB kind of stuff or zero QB, but you're making your team really thin. That's part of why I don't enjoy Superflex, to be candid. But if you're doing Superflex on there, like make sure you go. It's like a wide receiver avalanche room. You either go with the avalanche or you end up picking up some values and being dead at the position. So Take your QBs. Take your QBs. Yeah, Kendra ahead of estimate, I think. It's just like Kamara's hurt. Kamara having a back thing, being in his, being around 30, it's not great for him. And they haven't brought in anybody else. Like Jordan Mims has not been good enough. 3150 drafters drafts. Wow. Whittington's 1920. Yeah, him being 1920 in Superflex makes sense. But yeah, on the main tournaments for the most part, he's going 18th. And then again, on Underdog, yesterday I thought I would get him safely in the 17th, end of the 17th. He went at the beginning of the 17th or maybe end of the 16th. So Whittington has enough steam. I think because people also, how people's brains work. They're like, oh, the new Puka Nacua. Of course it's going to be for the Rams again. And in reality, there'll never be another Puka. But, that's how it goes. I've been helped, CWAS. Appreciate you signing up, though. Thank you for doing that. Your support does go a long way here on the channel. All right, so we did get Kendre Miller all the way back if we wanted to go that way. But we need tight end too. We have a little bit of a Washington bet. I think Ben Sinnott works for this team. I think Colby Parkinson would work as well, but Sinnott at 210 I think is a better play than Parkinson. So we're going to go Sinnott here. We'll see what we get back. And last round, Jake Bobo is going to happen no matter what. Just out of principle. It's to show SND how stacking works. We're to take him and stack him up. Let's give the team a read, though. I've not done that in a while because I've been mad for roughly 7 rounds. We got Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young, Geno Smith as our QBs. DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson at pick 100 would be great, but we got Brian Robinson, Gus Edwards, Austin Eckler, Tank Bigsby. So I do think the Washington backfield, if you're going to get them at their ADPs, I can live with taking both of them. Still think a bet on one of them is more preferred, but they are one of the 4 teams I've said enough times here where Tennessee, Cincinnati, Dallas, Washington, I feel like are the 4 teams where like the RBs are at reasonable ADPs. You can take both of them and feel okay about it. So that's how I'll say that goes. Tank Bigsby rounds out the RB room as RB6. We have Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Jahan Dotson, and DeMarcus Robinson. The tight end, Sam Laporta and Ben Sinnott. So need more players for sure. I think that's a given that we have 2 more rounds. But giveaway coming up in a little bit. Kendre Miller undraftable now? No, he's undraftable. Look, I said it before that he got the double whammy here where he got the bad coach speak and then also got hurt. Those are 2 bad things. The fact he's not back in practice with the hamstring, also not good for him given that he keeps having these injuries, but he's draftable. He's absolutely draftable. And I think Utah Sports asked if he's undraftable and then drafted him. He's draftable, especially in the 20-round draft. But he's got to be, if you're like dead at RB and you need an RB5 and a 0 RB build, it shouldn't be Kendre Miller. It should be, somebody else. He's just got to beat out injured Alvin Kamara, dog shit Jamal Williams, and not high pedigree Jordan Mims, which can happen. Good way to look at it by Benny. Treat Kendre like a rookie. May not get anything till October, but could be a 20-touch dude by Thanksgiving. That might be asking a lot, but it's possible. It is possible. Are you doing a bit, No Cap Mac? No Cap Mac, a newer regular here, so would be allowed to be doing a bit on me, but this has been a tough draft, Mac. A tough draft. Gesicki here. This is a tough one. Gesicki, Theo Johnson. Could also go get Davis Allen if I want to do correlation. Who's got the better floor? Kind of think Theo's got the better floor. I could be wrong about that, but Theo in round 19, I'm okay with that. I like Theo in round 18 on Underdog. Round 19 on Drafters feels pretty good. Jamal Williams led the league in TDs. What happened to him? What happened to him is he had the perfect situation and perfect team, and then he went somewhere else for a little bit more money, and now he's not in a perfect situation and perfect team. You have to be like, so much of this stuff comes down to, how the team approaches certain things, how they handle goal line situations. How Detroit handled goal line that year was giving him every touch, and that's not even how Detroit does it now. So, like, he just had 1 year of luck boxing, the perfect situation for a player that is far from perfect. That's the best way to explain what happened with him. But I do think there was something informative with what the Jamal Williams year was to me, which is like just taking these guys who are touchdown hounds and offenses that we know are going to get to the goal line and just want to run it in. That's why I like Gus Edwards. That's why I like Zeke. That's why I like some guys who are really dusty. Joe Mixon even. Like Mixon has a little more to add in the pass game, but like in reality, his value is just hitting because of the fact that he's part of Houston's offense and they're getting the ball into the red zone and somebody's got to score it. So those RBs are like always hard to pinpoint in best ball. And as a result, people like turn a blind eye from him. Even Tank Bigsby could be kind of that guy. Not a 20 touchdown guy, but like he can siphon some of the goal line work away. I would honestly give a shot at round 20 Marshall at this point because I've taken round 20 Mingo before, and Marshall has acquitted himself well in camp, even though it's been lately because of the fact that that Deontay Johnson's been out. But Mingo wouldn't be crazy. I still think this is a Jake Bobo team at my at heart. Jake Bobo clearly wide receiver 4 for that team. I didn't open a second beer, but I'm gonna. Well, this one's kind of warm now. Oh, I'll open it for the ASMR's sake. There we go. It's no coffee pour, but it'll do. We got Gesicki all the way back. Oh, it's got to be Jake Bobo. It just has to be. All right. Hold on. We're not going to read the team yet. Now that, oh, hold on, is how you stack SND. Jake Bobo and Geno Smith. They're on the same team. That's how you select QBs. When you want to pair. Why does it keep giving me this fucking screenshot of my team? A pass catcher with them. One would think. I'm going to do the giveaway in a moment here. After 60 drafts, you'd figure that out. But here we are. Here we are. All right. Final team here. How do I pull it up? I got that screenshot so many times and I don't know how to pull it up. Thank you. Thank you. I tried to make my chats worthwhile. Final team here. We got Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young, Geno Smith here. Oh, okay. There we go. Go this way. All right. We got DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson, Gus Edwards, Austin Eckler, Tank Bigsby. We got Amon-Ra, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Jahan Dotson, Demarcus Robinson, Jake Bobo, because that's what you do. You draft a QB, so theoretically they tie to another receiver. Granted, this is not how you stack. This is absolutely 100% not the right way to stack. We proved the point. We got Sam Laporta, Ben Sinnott, Theo Johnson. Oh, I didn't know you could click your avatar and do it. Let me see that. Oh, shit. Learned something new from Brodster. All right. All right. Giveaway time, guys. Let's go here. The hashtag for today is, so you know what? Let's do someone a little bit less crude. We'll do stack for SND. Here's your hashtag for today. I'm putting in chat. Start collecting comments. Share this tab instead. Stack for SND. There's your chat. You can copy, paste it, or you can grab it from the screen. But this is your one here. If you want to get a giveaway here, an entry to win, $15 entry. We're going to give away 2 to the Drafters Million. Stack for SND. He has a crippling illness where he doesn't realize the importance of grabbing QBs at their normal ADPs as part of stacks. And we have to help this man. We have to help him heal. So please stack for SND. He doesn't know. He doesn't know better. He's got this debilitating illness for himself, and he simply can't stack things up. But now, with this hashtag, we can get there. Put on your stack for SND bracelet. Here, do I have anything that could be a bracelet? Put on your, here, I'll even take off my regular hat. Put on your tiny hat for SND. Let's stack for SND here, guys. He needs this. He needs this help. He needs to learn. I'll give you guys another. I'll take a big sip of this beer and we'll do the giveaway after that. Give you guys a chance to get the hashtag in as I'm wearing a celebratory hat for no particular reason, but that's how much I care about SND. Should become a preacher at a mega church. If only I believed in anything. For a second, that said you should become a predator. Which is also, you know, it's an option. It's a career option. Donate my entry if I win. Oh, Chunk did win one already, but you can win another one. I don't care. All right, we're drawing. Last shot here. If you want to get in for the second giveaway, get your hashtag stack for SND in. But here we go. Giving it away. I'm wearing my party hat. I'm ready to go. Mikey, I don't know you, bud. So Mikey, make sure to leave a comment after this video with your Drafters username because I don't know what your username is. So not in the chat. Leave it in the comment after the video ends. And you will get a free entry to the Drafters Million. And make sure you do that because if you don't leave that comment, I don't know who you are and I can't give it away. Second drawing here. Can't have the same winner twice. Hey, shout out Mikey here. Mikey, again, comment. Don't forget, comment. But shout out Mikey. Glad you're here. Make sure to leave me your username. And I will send it over on Monday. Pat, you've won before, Pat. You're very lucky, Pat. I'm going to let you win this one. But I think tomorrow, if we get a repeat winner, we're going to redraw. So Pat gets the repeat win. Pat, I already know your username, but I don't really. So leave me a comment as well. Same thing. But there we go. Pat gets his second ticket here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that Pat won again. I'm going to take the party hat off. I feel... Here's all my hair, guys. You see all my fucking... Woo! Got a lot of hair still, even though we don't show it off on stream anymore. But guys, this is our Drafters doubleheader for today. Tomorrow, another doubleheader going. So please hit that like button and subscribe. Come back tomorrow. I do drafts every day at 11 a.m. And you know what? I'm not afraid to tell people what they're doing wrong, especially when it's not me. I'm not afraid to tell people that. But here I do drafts every day. And tomorrow I'll be giving away another 2 Drafters Million tickets. And again, doing the same process again, another doubleheader. If you're new to Drafters, please subscribe. Please go sign up on there. Use promo code SPLASH to go get a $100 deposit match on Drafters. Again, very high likelihood of overlay and full point PPR. No pods, no playoff pods. So the luck component goes out the window a little bit more there. And the full point PPR, as you saw here, gives you a little bit more grace to make stuff work. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. And please go check out Drafters. Point through. Go check out Drafters. Ooh, we're touching tips. I don't know, man. Go best ball overlay tool, whatever. I'll be back tomorrow with more, guys. Gamble responsibly. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to all the fine folks who helped me support this channel. You too can support the channel by joining down below for $4.99. You get a VIP Discord. You get my rankings updated weekly with 300 plus player blurbs. You also get my notes, my news and notes document, and you get, of course, 10 team reviews a month from me. So even on Drafters. So join down below. Do that. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m., guys. So gamble responsibly in between. And never forget, it's always money time. It's always money time. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at SplashPlayPod. And hey, stack some shit up, SND. That's what I'll say. Back tomorrow. I hope I don't see SND then, but I hope I see you. Good luck. Bye-bye. Enjoy your weekends. See ya.